Previously on Lords of the Nine. So we're going to start in a certain place that Daya is very familiar with, the Holy Order Assembly in the Blumenkranz barracks.
We are to ask for an increase in taxes 4 times, and if they cannot pay, we are to take their firstborn as a new recruit in the army.
This isn't right. I know that. This isn't anything Gutenberg would teach. I know it's bad, but I'm also in the army.
Emil Whitticus.
Yes.
He has a mansion library that might have the Tome of Resonance. Pretty much he's completely covered. There's no skin showing whatsoever. His alabaster mask conceals his facial expression.
So what will it be today?
Just the regular.
Alright, I can do that.
What are you doing?
Isn't it obvious? I'm not following orders.
Open up the Tome of Resonance.
You will pay for this, but it won't be me that delivers the judgment. It'll be the Ruby King.
Right.
From hereby, you are banished. You are banished from Blumenkranz. You're banished from the Holy Order.
Yeah, they're taking you to the outskirts of basically. And there's a huge forest. One of them goes to hit Brahms on the head.
Okay.
Pounding on his brain is incessant screams echoing around his head.
And what do I call you?
Call me Cobb.
Alright, thanks, Cobb.
And you can see that a lot of people are kind of going into this tavern, the Jolly Badger.
Welcome to the Bread and Bone podcast. This is episode 2 of the campaign Lords of the Nine, with Brighton as the DM. I'm Andrew, and I'll be playing a simple baker named Blake Birchtree. This episode will introduce Blake as well as Jack B Nimbly as they team up for an exorcism? Find out on the Bread and Bone podcast, Lords of the Nine.
We're here, we're ready to start the second canonical session in this campaign. The wonderful fantasy realm of Blumenkranz. And beautiful place, peasants are all very friendly. They're very politically active. They know everything that's going on with their politics. They vote as much as they can vote in a medieval society where there's no democracy.
That's more than
The thing is though, of course there's no democracy. I'm just saying they have good terms with the royalty and everything like that. And there's no ill will between classes, between the rich and the poor, or between, I guess you'd say, the royalty and the peasants. People generally get along. And usually the kings, the Schwarzburgs, were very friendly to the peasants. They would tax them fairly. They would always walk along the village roads and talk to people. Of course, everything changed when the Ruby King invaded. So good old Ruby King, he comes in alone, and he takes over the entire monarchy. Kills the king, sits down on the throne, grows out his hair really long.
all in one motion.
All in one motion. He just sat down, and then he's like, all right, and he just rested. His skin got wrinkly, and his hair grew out long. That's canon now. Anyway, so yeah, the Ruby King now sits on the throne, and he basically just disregards all of the laws that were set in place. So for 200 years...
He's the king. Can he do that?
Yes, he literally can, and that's the bad part. That's why the peasants are mad about that, because usually there would be some good communication between the royalty and the peasants saying, okay, we're going to change this law a little bit. Are you okay with that? And we'd be like, yes, I'm fine with that. And then it would happen. But now the Ruby King's oh yeah, I'm just going to start a war with something, and no one knows what, because Blumenkranz is at peace with all the neighboring kingdoms at this point. So it's very odd. What is he building an army for? No one knows. But he's building an army. He's raising taxes quadruple. And he's basically becoming a tyrant very fast. And the major problem with that, of course, being a tyrant always would piss off peasants, but also just the fact that Blumenkranz was founded on the teachings of Gutenberg. And Gutenberg, which is kind of like a man deity, he was followed for hundreds of years. prominent clerics of the Temple of Gutenberg wrote down his early treatises, and they were all about freedom, all about the government not really being involved with citizens' lives. Stuff where it would be very relaxed, very open, and it would focus more on building a society of people that are nice to each other than having like an oppressive monarch that's kind of holding everyone in place. And the Ruby King's more like that, actually to the extreme. So that's the current political climate.
I have a question.
Yeah.
We talked about the peasants and the taxes on them. What about business? What about, are they getting tax breaks, or is it heavy tax on the businesses too?
What about the middle class, the top 1%?
What about the healthcare?
All right.
Transportation business.
So yeah, I guess this is relevant to your character, if businesses are getting taxed or not. So the tax that went around was a household tax, not a business tax. So businesses are not being targeted specifically. Nothing's happening specifically to just businesses. But your household would also experience the quadruple tax. And if your father were not able to pay it, you, the firstborn son, would have to be drafted into the military.
I see.
So if you've got no house, you're good, is what you're saying.
Pretty much. Okay, so we're going to start you guys off in a certain village. I need a German name. Helmholtz. And so Helmholtz will be a village.
Wait, Helmholtz.
Like a Helmholtz coil.
Okay, I recognize that word. I couldn't figure out what it was.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
so
Okay.
Helmholtz is going to be the village that you guys are in. And specifically, Blake, he works in a bakery on Widerlich Road. And Widerlich Road is a very common place. A lot of townsfolk kind of gather around there, mostly for the bakery. What is the name of the bakery that you work at?
I was gonna go something birch tree related.
Yeah.
Just edit out the 5-minute break.
Yeah, no. Breaking bread.
Yes.
Breaking Bread.
Why not?
The Breaking Bread Bakery, run by the Birchtree family. You know what? Let's go with that. That has some good implications. All right.
Okay, so
It does.
breaking bread.
So the Breaking Bread Bakery, run by the very popular Birchtree family, or rather popular Birchtree household leader, Hector Birchtree. He is a world-renowned cook, at least across this kingdom, or I should say baker, specifically. And he's known for his sourdough bread. Everyone wants to taste Hector's sourdough bread, and so that's kind of one of the major reasons people go to Helmholtz village in the first place. Yeah, so like a beam of electrons, people are just like lining up, for this to this bakery, and heading inside, tasting out some of the poppy seed loaf, the lemon loaf, his sourdough bread, his hot cross buns, and then he has just like nice warm whole grain loaves as well. People like to try, and Hector always has samples.
Of course.
So we're going to start the campaign in this bakery. So yeah, there's a lineup of customers that are testing out some samples. Hector's there. He's just like, hello everyone, try out the lemon loaf. It's delicious. And people are like, oh, well, Hector, you're such a nice person.
No one hesitates with the pause. It's a little sketchy. It's delicious.
Well, they know he would never lie to them about
Okay.
the bread. Like he has a good reputation.
Good reputation.
Yeah. I should maybe describe what he looks like. He has kind of like a very wide, almost like square head. He has like very, very closely trimmed hair, and he's balding. in spots. Not perfectly, but like more square than usual. He has a bit of a unibrow, but he's clean shaven otherwise. And and in general, he has like a very mean scowl on his face. But that doesn't at all perturb the customers who just love him and they love his bread and it's always a nice place to be around. So Hector's there. He has a very interesting way of running the shop. He basically takes over everything. He handles everything. He allegedly makes the bread. He built the shop from the ground up, and he's always advertising, walking around, putting billboards up. He always goes around giving out samples, and then of course he's always the person running the shop. Anyway, so now we go to the person who's actually baking the bread. And that's Blake. And so, Blake, you're in the kitchen. What do you do?
Yes, and the kitchen, or Blake's kitchen, because they have a kitchen in the bakery that you can see, but it's just for show. There's nothing actually there. It's all in like the basement area. It's like a lab kind of setting. Yes. Yeah. No. And he's currently rolling out a nice big table of dough.
Describe what your character looks like.
Sure. Blake, he's a little bit odd. He's wearing mostly like a black shirt, black pants, black shoes. He has over top of that a red or a crimson robe. That it's kind of like a cross between a robe and a cloak. It's not quite as thick as a robe. It's not quite as thin as a cloak. It's got the best of both worlds in there. He has a very boyish face. And what's unusual about him is you can't really pin his age because he looks, at first glance, maybe like a kid. However, like looking at his eyes, it gives a very wise kind of look. And the way he holds himself, his demeanor, would be very mature for his age. But overall, he's fairly short and he has a boyish face and brown hair.
So, among these customers, because there are many people that are kind of attracted to this kind of place to get bread, among these customers is also a halfling who kind of wandered in and didn't really know the place very well, but saw that there was a large crowd of people around this bakery. So, Jack, what do you do? You're in the bakery. There's good smells.
Is there a lineup?
There is a lineup.
All right,
You're at
I
the
walk
back
to the
then.
middle of the lineup.
Okay.
The middle.
The lineup is too long. I can't wait that long.
It is very long. It snakes all around the bakery.
Besides, I'm pretty short. No one even notices. I just like stand right near someone's legs.
But you got into the middle of the line.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I don't go to the front of the line. That's rude.
Do a stealth check.
Stop, Jack.
Very important.
All right, I'm very stealthy, and I got a 7. Although halflings are naturally stealthy.
I'm surprised you don't have like
That's
a
true.
breaking.
I'm going to also say it's busy,
Like
so you can
X-Pass.
have advantage on this roll.
Oh, hold on. I forgot I have a proficiency in stealth too.
But roll an advantage.
All right.
14.
All right, 14.
Yeah, that's the number.
So yeah, you're able to kind of sneak, like honestly, through some people's legs, get into the lineup, and people are just very eager to taste some of this new sourdough. They know that Hector had a new recipe that he was trying out. Of course, Blake is the one making the recipe.
It's limited time too. It's like for this time only. It's gonna be like a seasonal.
Oh, it's a sale.
So this is like Starbucks gingerbread lattes.
So yeah, it's a seasonal thing. I'm not sure what time of year it is.
Oh, it's summer, like hot summer.
Okay, yeah. So it's the it's the summer sour.
So you get to the front of the line after about 10, 15 minutes, and Hector's just like, he doesn't see you. You're too short. You don't reach the counter, but he knows that someone must be in front. So he kind of like slowly leans down. He has like a hook nose.
Jingle my bells.
You can kind of like see nose hairs poking out as he kind of like leans over, and he's just like, "You
Can I get a glass of water?
what?
Water, like the liquid.
What do you think I am? I don't make water
This is
here.
not a shop.
But you gotta buy some bread too. Try out the lemon loaf.
All right.
It'll melt in your mouth.
Sounds good. How much is the lemon loaf?
That'll be a gold piece and 1 copper.
Whew. Okay.
It's a
I'm
big
not very
loaf.
good at math, so I might start like counting out. It's like, okay, 1 gold. Oh geez, I don't have any copper. How many gold is a copper?
It's all right. On the house.
Oh, thank you, sir.
And then he goes and gets some water and the lemon loaf. The lemon loaf looks amazing. Like, it looks delectable. But the water is kind of murky.
I pound back the water, and then I walk out because I just ate lunch, so I don't want to eat the bread for now.
The water has an odd taste of iron in it.
You know what? Iron makes you stronger.
So what happens around now is there's a lot of ruckus going on right now because a woman walks into the shop and disregards the lineup and walks right to the front. And the way she kind of carries herself is a bit strange. Like, she seems to be looking up at the roof or up at the ceiling the entire time when she's walking around. She's bumping into people, and it's very odd. She's wearing like kind of a fluffed dress, like goes down to her feet, and it's she has like a bonnet, and she's walking around. She's just like, Hector, where are you? Where are you? Well, and she's standing right in front of us, and Hector's just like, oh, Betty, you're not supposed to be in here. Get out. Go back home. There's no bread for you now. I have the customers to serve.
That sounds really ominous.
She's just like, oh, can I go see Blake? He's my favorite. Yeah, and he motions to the back. However, she doesn't know where to find your lab. I mean, she's been there before, but she completely forgot.
Yeah.
So she's kind of like wandering around in the kitchen, and she can't find you. Meanwhile, is there anything you'd like to describe while you're in the...
I don't think there's been anything to like rouse Blake from his work right now.
No.
So yeah, now I think he's putting the bread into the oven with his with that bread scoop.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Is there like tubes of like ingredients for bread going around, like steam coming out of things?
No, nothing that intricate, unfortunately.
Not that hardcore.
Yeah, Blake is pretty old school with his utensils.
Around now, like, yeah, you've gotten your bread and you've gotten your water. I guess that was the main thing.
I drank the water.
And
It's all gone.
so where do you head out now?
Oh, well, I like crowds, so I'm just going to hang around the crowd, I think, for a little bit.
Okay.
See what's there.
So, in the shop? In the bakery? Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, there are a couple of people that are kind of just standing around, and they're just talking, and you can hear them talking about the Ruby King, and it's a very common subject, as you've heard in your few. I guess you've been here a few days.
I realize the Ruby King's probably important, so I'll go walk over closer to those people and kind of listen in.
Yeah, they're just like, the Ruby King, what a bastard! Have you heard what he's recently been doing? Ah, yes, the taxes are so high. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, it sounds like a real monster raising taxes.
Yeah.
Did you say that to them?
No.
Okay.
I just get, like, depressed with all this king stuff and I walk out. Not really depressed, but just like, stupid king peoples.
What does Jack look like?
Yeah.
Jack is short. He looks like, charming little halfling. He likes the color yellow and wears this pale yellow one-piece uniform with a matching hat with bells on it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so you find around outside, since there's like a popular hub, so people like to post things on a billboard because it's a good way to promote their products. So you can see, of course, stuff about like the lemon loaf that you just bought. Yeah, maybe overselling it a little bit, but and yeah, there's some other stuff on there. I guess you're looking for a job at this point, right? You'd be on the job hunt.
Yeah. For those jobs and it'd be more performing space.
Mm-hmm. So most of the billboards on there are actually about joining the military, and it's obviously something from the Ruby King that he posted there. However, there's also one that's there that kind of may catch your attention, and it's clearly someone like a family that put this here, and they're saying, "Please, we need help. We need an exorcist." Our son has been acting very strangely, as if he's been possessed, and we need someone to help us. We don't know what to do, and we will give you lodging at our bed and breakfast suite if you can perhaps help. And there's like an address. It's close by, a few blocks away.
Seeing as there's not a lot of career opportunities and I'm not really much of a fighter, the military is probably not my best suit. They'll take away my yellow. Gonna go visit the house then.
Exorcism, good business. So it's at this time when Betty walks back to Hector and is just like, I cannot find him, dearie, where is he? And she knocks over, kind of a stand that had some bread samples on it, and just like they go clattering around, and some of the peasants like start to pick them up. And Hector's just like, Betty, you can't do this. Leave. And she's just like, but I want to talk to Blake. And he's just like, 1 second, everyone. Don't take any of the bread. And then he walks.
Don't take any of the
with
bread.
a lot of trust. He walks back and goes into he basically goes to like the bathroom where he pulls on a door handle and
Flushes himself down the toilet.
almost.
Dexter's lab.
Actually, you know what? The handle is going to be in the kind of the back of the toilet.
Yes.
And he pulls that, and then there's basically a little door panel that opens up, and you can kind of pull it the rest of the way. And there's a stairwell with cobwebs, and it's really eerie. And there's there's like a little statue which looks like kind of like a bat with a snake coiling around it. And it's a candlelit staircase that kind of goes down a while. Of course, none of you can see this. I don't know why I'm even describing it. Anyway, but he goes down
atmosphere.
he goes down into the lab, and he sees Blake working on his stuff.
What is it?
Blake! Your mother wants to see you.
Oh.
Dun, dun, dun.
And then she kind of like tumbles down the stairs, like, "Oh, Blake!" And then she runs at you. And are you holding anything in your hands right now?
Yeah, like I think a giant bread knife.
Okay. yeah. She almost runs into the bread knife.
Yeah, Blake will do like a quick move and toss it behind him, and it perfectly hits like the cutting board, lands like straight up.
You don't even have to make a check for that. I assume like you're bored in the lab. Often you practice that.
Waiting for the bread to cook.
Yeah, and so she'll give you a big embrace. Yeah, she gives you a big embrace and just like, "Oh, Blake, how's your day been?"
And Blake just for a moment ignores her and looks to to Hector, and he says, "Anything else?"
Yeah, we need more posters up. Get on it now.
Sure.
I have customers to deal with, so come. You're gonna come upstairs with me. Betty,
My bread isn't done.
I'll tend to it.
5 minutes. Take it out. Put it on the cooling rack.
Got it.
You put the lemon glaze on it 2 minutes after while it's on the cooling rack so it gets nice and runny. But still drips down the bread, but it's thick enough that it's not going to soak in too much.
He's trying to make it seem like he knows this already, but he really doesn't, and he's actually listening intently, just trying to cover it up.
Is this clear?
Yes, it is.
Father?
Yes, it is, Blake. Now, get on with your duties. And he goes over and just starts to stand by and wait.
Okay.
And he kind of like gives you and Betty an ominous look.
Makes us watch for 5 minutes. Exactly.
Blake grabs the big cutting board and the bread knife, and he has like a sheath on the side of his belt, and he puts the bread knife in, and then he kind of puts the cutting board in his bag, and he talks to Betty, his mother, and kind of guides her upstairs, and kind of like, "Oh, how are you today?"
She doesn't even she's not listening to you. She's kind of like, dazing up again.
Yeah.
And she looks at you and she's like, "Oh, Blake, I haven't seen you in days. How are you doing? What? Were you baking bread today?
Yes.
Wow. Next time you bake bread, I need to come and see. I want to know how you do it."
Of course, mother.
And yeah, you walk upstairs.
Sure. And Blake guides her to help her so she doesn't hit any stairs or trip anything.
That's right, yeah. And she actually does really need that help, so it's much appreciated for her. And so she gets to the top, and I guess she knows her way home somewhat. Maybe she needs some directions, but...
Yeah, Blake will send her, he'll come out and he'll send her off in the direction he knows that, from the point he knows that she'll be able to get there safely.
Mm-hmm.
And he knows it's, a pretty good street, so he'll be okay with sending her along.
Oh, yeah. All the streets are safe in Blumenkranz. So you know where the posters are, and so you have to put up some new posters of the hot cross buns, which are going to be also on a summer sale starting tomorrow.
Okay, yeah, so Blake will pick up those posters and head out.
Mm-hmm. And so you go to the billboard, and Jack is still. I guess it's kind of like it's not like there's a rip-off number. This is, medieval times.
Poster.
But you'd be there, I guess, pondering this. And it's you've been there maybe a minute or two, and Blake shows up.
Yeah, Blake walks past and starts hammering in the poster, kind of looking down at the little man.
I check out his poster, see what's on it.
Yeah, what's on?
Buns of the summer. Get them while they're hot.
Yes. So yeah, and you can also see this strange billboard sign that has talks about exorcism.
What have you got there?
Nothing. What's it to you?
Why are you so secretive there?
Well, I need a job, need some work, and can't afford to be losing it out to competition.
You think you're on my...
Competitive job market,
No, I understand.
Although you seem to be doing whatever bun stuff you do.
Yeah, I don't think you would see me as a threat. Simple baker.
I mean, probably not. I'm not really doing much baking myself.
I see.
Do you like bread?
I have to taste it.
Would you want some bread?
Oh, my lemon loaf.
I haven't tried it. Is it good?
When'd you buy it?
20 minutes ago?
That batch came out a bit late. It'll be a bit dry. I recommend getting a lemon and squeezing some juice on it fresh.
Alright, I'll give that a try if I come across any fresh lemons in this lovely city.
Yes, if you like, I have to go buy a shop selling fruits and various wares if you like on my way to the next poster. You could come with me if you like.
Sure, why not? You know, I don't really know the city that well. Might be good to see about these fruit selling shops.
Yes.
Do you so describe?
Well, don't get lost.
I'll try not to.
Yeah, and Blake will lead the shorter man with him.
Okay, so yeah, you come across the next billboard you're supposed to put the signs on, and there's like some old ones that you put there like last week that are kind of like ripped off, and there's another one of the signs from the job that he wants to take about the exorcism.
And does it look similar to the sheet he's holding?
Yeah, like of course they weren't they weren't like printed by a bunch of monks that like sit around all day and they transcribe things. It's just like the family trying to make the closest copy they can.
Yeah.
But it looks pretty much the same.
An exorcism?
Oh darn, the secret's out. Well, as you can tell, I'm a highly acclaimed cleric. You can tell by my uniform.
Of course. I wouldn't expect anything less.
Yeah, Church of the Jingling Bells.
I see.
Probably never heard of them. They're not very mainstream.
No, I haven't. I don't. It doesn't surprise me though. So many new folks coming into town. You don't have to worry any competition from me. I'm not an exorcist.
You know, to be fair, neither am I. So.
Do you know how much they're paying? It doesn't say an amount on this poster.
No, I was just gonna head over there and find out.
Well, and would I know the area that this exorcism is taking place?
Yes, it says on there.
Okay.
Like, where the house is.
And would the lemon or like the fruit shop be on the way to that?
Yeah, there would be one like the next block over.
Okay.
Not on the way, but it would be like close by.
Sure.
Fruit shops.
If you like, we could get a fresh lemon for that bread, and then on the way to the exorcism, and we could inquire about how much it is.
All right, sounds like a good plan.
I'm not sure if you want a partner or not, but I could use a little more cash.
I mean, I don't really know the place too well. Not great at directions, so it might be good.
Okay. Yeah, and then Blake will. Oh, and he says, "I'm Blake." Jack. For the podcast viewers, we just did a real handshake. Oh yes. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, so the sun is starting to set a little bit. Like it's kind of it's getting into like the late afternoon.
Again.
And yeah, the house is it's cozy. It's not large, but it's cozy. The door is like open.
Well, we're going to the house first.
Or can we assume that we picked up the lemon?
Yeah.
On the way.
All right.
Sure. Yeah.
So
Hello.
the door's open. Right?
Hello. Hello.
Yeah, we just kind of knock on the
I
door.
guess you can knock on the door that's open, the ajar door.
Yeah.
And
Indeed.
yeah, so like a woman wearing a hairnet comes, and
Wow.
she's
hygiene.
she's not old. She's like maybe 40, and she comes to the door and she's like, "Hello, hello. You've seen our signpost.
Yes.
How beautiful. Come inside.
Oh, why, thank you.
Would you like some tea?
Sure.
Thank you. All right, come in.
Why, thank you very much.
None for me.
What are your names? What are your names?
Call me Jack.
Hello, Jack.
Blake.
Hello, Blake. Sit down, sit down. I'll be right back." And she goes and gets some tea, pours it, and yeah, hands you some
Roll
little
initiative.
teacups. Yeah, roll initiative.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I'll describe the inside of the place. It's very crowded, and there's like paper everywhere. There are some beds, bunk beds, and she has like small tables, kind of like coffee tables that are beside some beds. And this place was advertised as a bed and breakfast place. And you can tell that there's like a stairway. It's a very narrow vertical place too, and you can see that there's a stairway going up. And there's a man that's like lying on one of the beds, and he looks like he's like half asleep, and his mouth is open, and he's snoring.
Oh, those snores. Sounds like he needs an exorcism.
So he's actually full asleep.
We came to inquire about how much this exorcism is worth to you.
Ah, yes, about that. We will get to that in a sec.
Can we see the exorcism?
Bat. And she like wakes her husband awake, and just like,
When she's not looking, I pour my tea into my water skin. I just had a glass of water. I'm good for a few hours. You know, I gotta pace out my hydration.
do you drink the tea?
No.
Okay.
I mean, Blake did say earlier none for me, so this makes him a little suspicious. I'm not sure if that was her or if it was just like a miscommunication.
Oh no, she'll bring tea to anyone then.
Oh, okay. never mind.
It's not like she doesn't really care what your answer was.
Yeah.
She would bring tea no matter what.
Right.
Yeah. She's just like, yes. I will. There's a problem.
Do you
My
believe
son.
The exorcism?
Yes.
Oh.
My son, eine kleine Kind. He's so beautiful but not himself lately. I'm thinking of a name, that's why I'm kind of stalling here. Klaus. Yes, Klaus. Forgive me, I should introduce myself. My name is Bertha Hartschlager. And, this is my husband, Bert.
And where's Klaus Hotschwagen?
Klaus, yes. He ran away in the middle of the night, last night. And,
Was this before or after he was exorcised
no.
Exorcised in?
Nobody came.
No, like before he was possessed.
Oh,
I'm trying to think of words.
you see, exorcism means it's been anti-possessed. The opposite.
Yes.
This has not happened.
But no.
Klaus was not himself for 3 days.
3 days, okay.
And on the third day he ran off. And I haven't seen him. But Bert and I, we tried to follow him, and we got to the woods. The woods right outside the village. And Bert was feeling very sick. We did not want to follow, especially in the forest. Nobody goes into the forest.
Can you tell me a little bit about Klaus's behavior?
Klaus. Yes. You see,
She talks. I rummage through my backpack, and I look like I'm writing, but I'm actually just holding a candlestick and just waving it.
this boy, he would act as if he was another child, not my own child.
Whose child was he acting as?
How should I know? But not my own child. My Klaus, he's into puzzles, he's into vegetables, he's into many things. He likes to pretend that he's a dragon, a black dragon.
And how old is your Klaus in human years?
He's 8,
Okay.
around 8. But then he suddenly started acting very strange, as if he was, I don't know, very much into the culinary arts. Not himself. We do the cooking around here. Which reminds me, would you like to try some of my bread?
Sure.
I have bread and soup, and they go very well together. I'll get some, and then I will tell you more.
All right.
And she goes and gets some bread and soup. That's just ready. It's just sitting around.
Might be an easy one. I say slightly as she walks out.
Blake remains completely silent.
Yeah, she comes back, puts it down on your thing. It's just like, please, give it a try. If you are able to find Klaus, I will let you stay here as long as you want, and you will have all the free food, all the lodging as you want. Try it.
Jack just has visions of free food and lodging. It's like, oh, that'd be so nice. Just imagine yourself eating bread. And he's like, oh, well. He slices a piece of bread. Well, actually, he doesn't have a knife. He breaks it.
Blake whips out
a bread knife.
and cuts
He
it.
unsheathes his blade.
Blake has that's his sixth sense.
When bread is uncut.
Yes.
He's cutting bread.
Yeah, indeed.
Careful, that loaf is not cooked.
Could be dangerous.
Okay.
Choking hazard.
How does the bread smell?
Do you try the bread? I will ask.
No, Blake does not. Although, I just gotta check a spell here real quick. And now he's going to try and read the woman. This is setting off a bunch of red flags for him.
Okay.
Would it? So may I do a
Insight check.
insight check?
Yes.
20 total.
So this woman actually seems very genuine, very honest. She's not making anything up. She's genuinely just trying to feed you food that she's proud of, and she runs an honest business. No dubious side story or anything like that. No hidden agenda.
And you made this bread.
Yes, it's one of my favorite recipes.
Oh.
I know I cannot compete very much with breaking bread, but it's the best I can do. Klaus always enjoyed it.
And so, does your Claus have anywhere he'd like to hang out?
Klaus, yes, he liked to hang out in his room upstairs. He is
Interesting. Can I see his room?
yes, come. And
And so she turns it back. I start putting some slices of bread in my bag. You know, I gotta plan for my next meal.
And where did you see him go last?
I can take you there. I can take you to the edge of the forest, but I will not go any step further. That place scares me.
Fine.
All right, so room then forest, I think.
Do you also go upstairs?
Yes.
So, yeah. She opens the door. It kind of squeaks open. And inside you can see there's a rocking horse. There's a small little bed, very tiny. And there's some toys scattered around. And there's some breadcrumbs everywhere. It's very odd.
There's too much bread in this town. It's starting to bother me.
It's all the fields in Helmholtz.
Breadcrumbs, you say?
Yeah, breadcrumbs.
And is it just all over, or is it in a specific pattern?
Okay, actually do an investigation check on that.
Okay.
Investigate the breadcrumb layout.
Does he have advantage on bread-related rolls?
You'll have proficiency.
Oh, well, that's going to be 24.
So you can actually tell that whoever put this down, put it down it's like they were lying on the ground, on their back, and they were eating bread while looking up like this. And so it kind of spilled down across on their shirt, and it kind of spilled off to the sides, down maybe in their armpits or behind their shoulders.
Like when you need a bag of chips on your back.
Yeah, it's like that.
Expert in the bread arts.
Oh, no.
Right up your alley, this one.
This Klaus was disturbed.
Why? What an astute observation, Blake. That is exactly correct.
When did these crumbs
She
appear?
put up the signs. She really knew.
When did these crumbs appear here?
What do you mean appear?
When were they left?
We would often visit his room, but there were no breadcrumbs the last few days. He must have been having a munch before he went out into the forest.
And this forest you speak of, where is it?
Yes. Where is it?
Yeah.
She opens the curtains. Right there. And you can see it out in the backyard.
Is it really close?
Yeah.
The entire forest fits in their backyard?
Obviously, it's not in their backyard. It's just you can see it from their backyard. You can see the edge of it, and it looks kind of spooky.
So it's the fence in their backyard, forest right there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Past a little field.
Okay.
If you were to go and
I
look for
stroke
my son,
non-existent goatee.
yeah. If you were to go into the forest, even if you were not successful, I would still give you some free days because I would not myself go into this forest.
Yes. Well, I think you should go to the forest soon, very soon. Look for your child.
It's getting late.
I checked my wrist with nothing on it.
I'm not sure I can do this for a few nights. Stay.
Well, you don't have to stay over. It's just I want to give whatever reward I can. If there's something else I could offer, some recipes.
Maybe.
Might you have... Yeah, Blake kind of thinks a moment.
Might you have a unique selling position with your building here that sets you apart from breaking bread? Maybe something that people come specifically here for that they don't have.
Bed and breakfast as the bed part. Breaking bread is only a bakery. They have no rooms.
But is there a food item that is often requested that you might not find at the Breaking Bread.
Ah, yes. Well, we have a special cake, and it is made with radishes.
I will do this for that recipe.
Agreed.
Okay.
May I ask, it's not my place, why does a recipe interest you in particular?
Oh,
Bread excites him.
you know, I enjoy food.
Ah, don't we all?
Who doesn't?
But yeah, no, Blake's definitely. I don't know. Yeah, it's pretty obvious. He's doing this so he can get their advantage and basically run them out of business.
All right.
So yeah, Blake's cool for the lady to take them to the forest, or he can just go if we can see it.
I think
Sure.
we should just go to the forest.
No, you go downstairs and the father is there, and he's not sleeping anymore. He's actually standing up straight, but he looks very frail. Like he's white, completely, like super pale. Has like bags under his eyes, and he's just like,
Oi!
Bersa, what are you telling these people about?
and he like kind of really weird and drunkenly kind of like walks towards you, Jack, and he's just like,
How frail did you say he looks?
oh, like he can like get knocked. Like if you blow on him, he'll like collapse. It's just like,
No, don't go near our son. The reason why I'm like this, he looked me in the eyes and he stole my soul.
So wait, you say you're a human, right?
What?
Well, you could be an elf, I don't know.
I am a human, yes.
And you have no soul, is what you're saying.
No, I got better from that. But my
You
son,
grew another soul.
the way he looked at me, it struck terror into my heart. You have no idea. You don't know what you're into.
You just have a very over-emotional heart, is what you're saying.
Stop! There are supernatural, otherworldly things involved with my son.
for some reason his
The
voice,
Exorcist.
he's just losing his voice while talking to you.
We are professionals.
That's not the voice.
Points his finger up at the ceiling. Professional.
The Church of the Jingling Bells has got this covered.
It's the Ruby King. Ever since he came into this kingdom, supernatural things have been happening. Us Blumenkranzers who never had to deal with this before.
And then Bertha just walks over and like
Is that who he's going to war with?
he collapsed into his arms. Oh, do you say this out loud?
Yeah, I'm like Jack's genuinely curious. He's heard there's a war, but he's never figured out who he's going like the war's against. You know?
Yeah, Bertha kind of looks at you and just like, well, I wouldn't take my husband's words to heart. He's a very unstable man. Ever since our son started acting differently, he thought of all these strange excuses for why it could happen. I think it's just plain old demon possession, but he thinks it's something much scarier.
As do I.
Oh, well, do you
Bread demon possession.
have an idea of what?
Far off.
I will not inquire. You are clearly the experts. I will take you to the forest, and you can continue this search and the exorcism on your own pace.
Sounds like a plan.
Come with me.